it's Stephanie here with a video for SimonsSaysStamp.com. For today's video, I'll be creating a card using product from the new Teacher's Pet collection that came out today. I'll be using this large cling background stamp first. It's called Alphabet Background and has this great alphabet image that completely covers your card front. And I'm going to go ahead and ink it up with Versamark ink because I want to do some heat embossing on my card front. So I always find the easiest way to do this is just flip the stamp upside down and apply the ink all over the stamp and then lay the paper directly onto the stamp. And then to keep my fingers clean, since the paper I'm going to be stamping on is smaller than the stamp area, I'll just go ahead and add a piece of scratch paper directly on top of my cardstock piece and then use my hands to apply firm pressure around all of the piece of the cardstock to ensure that I get all of that ink on top of there. Once I have the ink all on, I'm just going to go ahead and add some white embossing powder. I'm using the Hero Arts white embossing powder. I just love the detail it provides. And you can also do this with clear embossing powder since we're doing this on white paper. I just prefer to use the white because I find that it gives a more crisp image when you're finished with all of the color that we're going to add on. So now I'm just going ahead and heating that up to get it embossed. You can kind of see it there, but it is difficult to see just because it's white on white. But as we start to add color here with my mini distress inks, you're going to see all of those great letters appear as the color's added. So I just have my little foam blending foams there inside my little ink pads. That was a great tip from Tim Holtz that they all fit right inside of there. So I actually have all of my little foams inside each of the mini distress inks, and I just add them to my blending tool when I want to use them. It's a great way to be able to have one foam per color. So now I'm just going to go ahead and start adding color onto this card piece. I'm starting with Broken China, and I'm just going to speed it up here to get through all of the color that we're going to add. But what I'm doing is just kind of adding it in 3 areas, just kind of separate from each other so they're not touching. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more colors. So the second color is Mowed Lawn, and this is just a really great bright green color. And then I also wanted to add some pink into it. I was going for a nice, bright, colorful background, and I really like how the green and the blue and the pink blend together. When they overlap each other, they give kind of a purple look, so they blend very, very well together. So I like this color combination. So now that I have all the color on there, I'm just going to take some of this shimmer spray. This is the Sparkle. It's completely clear except for it leaves just a little bit of a sparkle to the area that you spray it on. So I'm just going to go a little bit above my stamped piece and just spray this like 2 or 3 times. Not very much, just enough to add the sparkle and add a little bit of moisture to the card base, which is going to help even out any hard lines in that color, just because distress ink reacts with water or moisture, so that will help to soften the color and just kind of add a little bit of subtle blending to it for any of the areas that created a hard line when the color was meeting one another. So we'll set that aside to dry, and we're going to work on the other component of the card. So this is also a new set called Lunchbox Notes, and this is a super fun set that you can use to create little notes for your kids in their lunch boxes. And then we also have this new teacher set that is specific to teachers for you to be able to create cards or notes when you have something that you need to discuss with one of your kids' teachers. So for my card, I decided to use the Lunchbox Note stamp set to make a card for a child. And rather than use it in the way it was intended with the smaller notes, I decided to create a standard size card. So I started to create this little piece here with the mailing label die, as you can see, and I had stamped it too far down, so I'm going to go ahead and restamp this. But before I actually do the stamping, I went ahead and laid the circle die that coordinates with the happy face that I've stamped there, just to make sure that I stamp it high enough up so that I don't run into the same problem where I didn't have enough space underneath. So I have that stamped on there, and now I'm just going to use the die to cut out the happy face. This is stamped on Simons Says Stamp Lemon Chiffon cardstock, and I'm just going to go ahead and run this through my die cut machine so that I have the happy face completely cut out. I love that there's coordinating dies to give that perfect circle image, and it makes it so much easier than having to fussy cut all of the images out. So I just added some foam adhesive to the back of the happy face, and I'm just adhering this directly underneath of the sentiment. And now, just for a little bit of added detail, I'm adding some glitter to the black areas on this piece. So I'm just using a fine tip Wink of Stella glitter pen. This is just the clear one. And I went over all of the black areas on the happy face and also over the black sentiment. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and finish the background now that it's dry. I'm using the new frames dies from Simon Says Stamp. They came out in our last release. And I just went ahead and cut the inside portion out of this background that I've created. And the fun thing about this stamp is this die is when you cut it out, you get a really thin border that cuts out inside of the die. But I don't want to use the actual colored piece that I've created. I went ahead and die cut it again out of a piece of black cardstock, and I'm going to use this to make the colors in this background piece really pop off of the card. So I went ahead and adhered the colored piece onto my card base, and now I'm taking that little thin black frame that I cut out and I'm adhering that directly around the centerpiece. I just used a liquid pen, glue pen, to add adhesive to the black frame. And now it fits perfectly around since they were both die cut out of the same piece. And then I was kind of deciding if I wanted to leave it like this with the white border or if I wanted to add the colored piece that was on the outside of the die cut image back onto the card. And when I placed it on, while it does give kind of a cool look, and I do like having the color on both the inside and the outside area of the card, I thought that it popped off of the card more with just the white area around it. So I decided not to use the outside piece and just have the colored piece on the inside with the black border. And then to finish the card off, I'm going to go ahead and add this piece that we've stamped onto that colored background. But before I do it, I just want to add a little bit more detail to the stamped piece just because it is on the more simple side. I wanted to keep it not too technique heavy or overly busy since it is for a child. So I just went ahead and scored the top of this little piece that we've stamped on. I cut it down before I did the scoring to make it the size I wanted for the card. And I'm just using my bone folder to go ahead and crease that little fold. And now you can see I have this fun fold here. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card front, leaving the folded piece folded over so that it doesn't get adhered down. And then once I have this on, I'm going to take my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher and just add 3 little staples to the top area of this little folded piece. I just thought it would be a nice touch to add some more detail to the card and kind of play in the school theme with some staples on the card. So once I have that done, that fully completes my card. So now I have this fun colored background with this fun happy face and sentiment that I can include in my son's lunch pail this year. So thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoy the new Teacher's Pet release and we can't wait to see what you create with it.